Oh, yeah. Is it Saturday already? Have we made it through yet another week of Star Wars news? We haven't had a live stream on a Saturday in weeks. And finally, we get to recap the whole week talking about this new sequel project that got announced a couple days ago and a Star Wars movie that was seemingly canceled is back on. Visions Volume 3 gets a release date and its first poster with a trailer looming in hopefully soon. And Ahsoka came out 2 years ago. And we got to talk about Ahsoka Season 2 and some news that's going on there. We got a lot to get into and not a lot of time. So without further ado, what's up, everybody? How's everybody doing on this fine Saturday afternoon? Yeah, we're a little bit early today. I know I got some stuff going on later on in the day, but still a Saturday live stream, still a lot of news to talk about, so I couldn't cancel today's show. We had to go a little bit earlier and talk about this stuff anyway. We got some Bo-Katan stuff. We talk about Katie Sackhoff. We'll get into that. But we got to talk about this new sequel project, this canceled Star Wars movie that is back on, Ahsoka and Visions. Because Visions Volume 3, although, as you may know, I'm not the biggest Visions fan, we still got to talk about it. It's still a new Star Wars show. It still got me hyped up because it's Star Wars. But Visions Volume 3, we got some news on that too. But before we dive into any of that, let's say hi to everybody in the chat. Shall we? Why does it go over there? Go over there. Okay. I'm already losing my voice. That's not a great sign. Nico, what is up? Brandon Baker in the house. Matthew, what is up? 50 Thunder, how we doing? James in the building. Mr. Slash X, how we doing? Cannibal the Dragon, what is up? Greg, how we doing? Zima, how we doing? Steve, what is up? Darth Plagueis lives in the house. King Shadow, what is up? Holly, how we doing? All right, if I miss you, you know the deal. Just yell at me in the chat. Let's give everybody a nice little
Hello there.
General Kenobi.
Okay, so I think we should probably start with this uncanceled Star Wars movie. Seems like, actually, no, scratch that. Let's start with Visions Volume 3. So Visions Volume 3, this happened yesterday, I believe. Yeah, this happened yesterday. Star Wars themselves released this, the first official poster for Visions Volume 3, and the release date. They confirmed the release date. No trailer. No trailer yet. We got the Rebuild the Galaxy trailer. Was that this week? Or was that last week? That was last week. Yeah, last week. We got the Rebuild the Galaxy trailer last week. No trailer this week, but the Visions Volume 3 trailer is coming very, very soon because they just dropped this. So take a look at this. And while we look at this, tell me in the chat, on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for Visions Volume 3? Because I know it's not my personal favorite thing, but I'm not the biggest anime guy anyway, and the first 2 seasons just weren't my cup of tea. I liked certain episodes. I loved the Ronin episode, the Ninth Sister episode, or Ninth Jedi, sorry, the Twins episode. There were some really good ones, but it's just not, where's everybody else at? Because I know a lot more people are way more high on Visions than I am, so tell me in the chat. But this is what we got. Star Wars Visions Volume 3. Key art revealed with a special preview of Black, which is going to be one of the episode's titles. Okay? So when Visions Volume 3 arrives on October 29th, 2025. So October 29th. Rebuild the Galaxy Season 2 is September 19th. So we still have 2 major Star Wars projects to end the year. Rebuild the Galaxy Season 2 in September 19th, and this Visions Volume 3, October 29th. After that, seemingly, there's no other Star Wars projects. I say seemingly because the Maul series could come out before the end of the year. We just haven't got any word on that yet. But maybe next week, because next weekend, a week from today actually, is D23. So there might be a little bit of an announcement in terms of the Maul series and its release date. I'd be surprised if it was before the end of this year. But it would be a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one, you know? Finn, what's up? How we doing? It's been a while. Okay. So the release date is October 29th of this year, the 3rd installment of this anthology series. Now, it doesn't say the final, so I don't know if there will be a 4th installment, but as of right now, this is the 3rd installment. It will feature 9 brand new anime shorts, all made by Japanese studios. So this is actually pretty cool because season 2 was made by studios all across the world. So they went back to only Japanese studios, apparently. Today, fans at Anime in New York City were treated to a special preview of David Productions Black, which is this where this image is coming from. Don't really know what's going on here. It looks like stormtroopers fighting a bunch of eyeballs. I don't know how that works, but yeah. So we'll see that when it comes out, I suppose. And we got to see this one too. Looks like some. Oh wait, what's going on here? I have no idea. They do a lot of fun stuff with these Visions episodes because they're not canon. They can do a bunch of wild stuff that makes a lot of Star Wars fans happy, you know? Because it's different. And I guess it expands the boundaries of what Star Wars can be. It's just not canon. So with that, we have all these different things. You got the, let's take a closer look at this. This is the poster. We are getting extensions of, or continuations, I should say, of fan favorite episodes from the first couple wait, what? Hang on, did that just say, chat? What? Wait, what? Oh my God. Jordan Rennie. The return of the man, the myth, the legend. What the fuck? Holy crap. Hang on. We got to stop looking at that poster for just 1 second. Jordan Rennie with the biggest super chat in channel history. Okay. Holy shit, Jordan. That's absolutely insane. Jordan Rennie with a $500 hauler. What? Oh my God. Thank you. Like, what do I even say to that, Jordan? What do you want me to say? Do you want me to start crying? I'll start crying for you, Jordan. He says, sup. Did I miss much? Okay. Jordan, we missed you. Let's start there. This is insane. Yes, you missed quite a bit, actually. I don't know where to begin, but that is insanely generous. I appreciate that quite a bit. That just made my day. No, made my week. Might have made my year, but I appreciate that quite a bit. Jordan, you've lost your mind. I appreciate you. Jordan gets a full recap. I don't even know what to recap. My brain doesn't work anymore, chat. It's broken. I don't even know what we're going to talk about today. I think we should just end the stream now. Jordan, you missed a Rebuild the Galaxy trailer. You missed Visions Volume 3, which we're going to talk about today. We talked a lot about leaks and scoops of all the different stuff in Star Wars. Ugh. Holy crap, Jordan. That's insane. Okay. Whew. You threw me off my rhythm, Jordan. I don't know what to tell you. That's the biggest super chat in channel history. Probably never going to be beat, but that's... Oh, my God. Okay, so let's take a look at this poster yet again. So as I was saying, where was I? Absolutely insane. There will be a continuation of a few stories from the first couple seasons. Fan favorite ones, like as you can see up here in the top right, or top left, sorry. I can't even tell my lefts and rights anymore. Jordan has broke me. You can see Ronan from the first episode of the first season, which has been a fan favorite character for a long, long time. So it's cool to get a continuation of that story. We're getting a 9th Jedi whole entire series next year, which is going to be pretty cool as well. And you see some familiar faces there, but also some new faces too, because there will be some new stories. Like we said, this is seemingly from that episode titled Black, where you got these two stormtrooper-looking characters fighting each other, and then some cute-looking teddy bear there. I don't know what the deal is there. And then that looks like a Blue Beetle. So not much is really known when it comes to this third season. The new stories of the new stories, and it's hard to really, figure that out. How do I gamble my 4 million credits? Do you have 4 million credits? That's insane. So, yeah. October 29th, Jordan Rennie's the GOAT. And we're going to get to see Ronan return and some other few familiar faces, which is pretty damn cool. Because to me, I always thought that when it came to Visions, you had those good episodes, like your really, really good episodes, like the Ronan episode. And when season 2 came out, there was a couple good episodes in there too, but I just wanted to see more of the best parts. And that's what they're doing with season 3, which has me more excited. I'm more excited for season 3 than I was season 2 and probably even season 1. But it's new Star Wars. That's the thing. I had some people hit me up that were like, Mike, the Visions trailer dropped, or Visions poster, dropped. Are we going to even talk about it on the live stream because you're not the biggest fan? I was like, of course we're talking about it. It's Star Wars. It's news in Star Wars. It's not my favorite Star Wars. That doesn't mean I hate it. Doesn't mean I despise it and will go online and crap on people for liking it. It's just not my favorite, you know? It's still new Star Wars, and I'm still excited for it. But, yeah. So, that's the latest and greatest when it comes to Visions. I'm shocked we didn't get a trailer. Shocked. Now, before we even move on from Visions Volume 3 for a sec, let's put up a poll, because I don't know where you guys are at with this. I've seen some very, very mixed opinions when it comes to Visions, so let me put this up in the poll. Are you excited for Visions Volume 3? Yes or no? Are you excited? And tell me in the chat on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you? Oh, we got another super chat. Darth Plagueis lives with a very generous $10 holla. Oh my God, $10! Imagine I just freaked out way more than for the $500 one. I appreciate that, Darth Plagueis. I appreciate it. I really, really do. Says, let's kick this weekend off right with a super chat. Well, okay. Can't wait for Visions Volume 3. Exactly. So that's my thing. Even though I'm not the most excited for this, and it is still Star Wars, so I am excited. It's just not at the top of my list. I know a lot of you are extremely excited. I know a lot of you really, really love Visions. So that's why I want to take the time to talk about it. Because first of all, it's new Star Wars. And second of all, I know how excited some of you are. Also, when do you think we will see Ahsoka Season 2? Like a release date? We have no idea. I will say it will be after the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. I can tell you that for sure. And that's May 22nd, 2026. So I would guess like August. I'd guess around this time. So maybe a year from now, we'll be getting Ahsoka Season 2. Just about a year from now. Which, honestly, is kind of cool because we'll talk about it later, but we're celebrating the 2-year anniversary of Ahsoka Season 1. What I think is the best season of Star Wars we've ever gotten. And we'll talk about that later and why people underappreciate the Ahsoka series. But it would be cool if it was like the 3-year anniversary and we got Ahsoka Season 2. It's so crazy that it took 3 years to make Ahsoka Season 2. But what are you going to do? There's projects in between. You have Skeleton Crew. You have the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. It's not like we're not getting Star Wars content for 3 years, but it does take quite some time. So, when will we get Ahsoka Season 2? If I were to guess, I'd say around August/September to sort of end the year for Star Wars content next year. Because you have the Maul series early in the year. You have the Mandalorian and Grogu in May. So it'll probably be later on in the year. Yeah. Finn says, nope, not excited at all. I'll watch it, though. Hopefully we get some good stories. Okay. That's a valid way to look at it. I read the Ronin book. I'm super excited to see what the sequel episode goes through. I probably read about it in the book. It's a pretty good book. Oh, so you think the sequel story in this 3rd season will be just the book? I didn't read the Ronin book, so I don't know what happened with that story. But that's the thing. Lucasfilm saw that they had a success with that story, and they were like, let's continue that. And they made a full-on book about it, and now in Season 3, he's coming back. It's crazy that they went with the giant bang. Like, Episode 1, Season 1 is an enormous, bang. See you, Jordan. Appreciate you. As per usual. Appreciate you. Is next Saturday the giveaway? Yeah. It's 23rd, so next Saturday would be the 30th. Yeah. Yeah, it would. So next Saturday is going to be a big one because D23 is next weekend, so we're probably going to be either getting a trailer, an official public trailer for The Mandalorian and Grogu or something else, or a leaked trailer, which wouldn't have been released publicly, but still we'll have the recording of it and we'll be breaking it down live. So next Saturday is going to be an enormous stream for that reason, but also giveaway, end of the month, all that fun stuff. Yeah. But Darth Plagueis, I appreciate the super chat. I don't have an exact date for Ahsoka Season 2, but hopefully around this time next year. Yeah, that's the hope. Hey, Mike. What's up, Anthony? I'm very excited for Visions Season 3. I consider 70% of it canon because much of it is easy to fit into canon. Interesting. I mean, yeah, there is some stuff in there that can definitely be brought into canon, but there's also some stuff that just can't possibly be brought into canon. Like, well, obviously there's certain episodes that have legacy characters in them that just can't be canon, but there's certain things that they use with the Force and or lightsabers that just can't be possible. Now, I also don't see the things that could be brought into canon as canon because it's not canon. That makes any sense at all. Yeah. Mike, what's under the lightsaber? Boom! Greg saw it first. Today's Easter egg was the lightsaber under the lightsaber. This is a tiny little toy lightsaber. It's actually Anakin's lightsaber, but it's tiny and little. Yeah. There you go. I'll take a Skeleton Crew Season 2. Well, we talked about that last stream. I don't know if we're going to get a Skeleton Crew Season 2 at this point. I think it's far more likely that the characters of Neil, Wim, KB, Fern, and Jod will all be continued in other projects. Like the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, like Ahsoka Season 2. I could see Jod going to work for Grand Admiral Thrawn. That's easy. The kids, on the other hand, I don't know. Maybe a second season, but we'll see. Yeah. Yeah. I expect Visions Volume 3 to be more engaging than Season 2, largely because the story continuations. That makes it a little bit more, makes me a little bit more invested. True. I mean, Season 2, I feel like went completely under the radar. Most Star Wars fans didn't even know it was released. When we were talking about Visions Volume 2, people were like, what, that actually happened? So I think with Season 3, you're absolutely right. Because it's sequels to the best stories, or to some of the best stories, people are going to want to see it more. Because Season 2, not a lot of people watched it. I mean, not a lot of people watched Season 1, but I will say more people were excited for Season 1 than they were Season 2. So it'll be interesting to see what happens Season 3. Yeah. Force Dragon, what's up?
Hello there.
And by the way, 65% of you guys right now in the chat say you're excited for Visions Volume 3. So that's the thing. It's hard to gauge because we are the people who love Star Wars and we are hardcore Star Wars fans who talk Star Wars 3 times a week, and we're nerds. Nerds. However, we do have this excitement level for this series. It might not be a common normie thing to go watch, but still, it's coming, regardless. Yeah. I consider the Jedi Padawan from the Village Bride to be one of the 45 Force users / former Jedi who survived between Order 66 to A New Hope. Interesting. I mean, that is possible because the stories are so disconnected from all the other stuff. It could be canon. That's why headcanon is the best thing ever. You can see anything as headcanon, I suppose, if it works. If it works for you. Yeah. Weird how Mike is not talking about the article that comes out that says that Disney needs males. What? I don't even know what this is. Disney needs males? Like the gender? I have no idea what you're talking about. Send it to the Discord. If you are not yet in the Discord, there's a link in the description below to a Discord called The People Who Love Star Wars. Go join it immediately. And send me that link. Because I gotta know what the hell that means. Disney needs males. Like male men? Like a male truck? or like male the gender. You lost me there. You lost me there. But that puts a close October 29th, 2025. In just 2 months, or just over 2 months, we are getting Visions Volume 3. All right? And there is the poster. Now, we got to talk about this. A canceled Star Wars movie that has been canceled over and over and over again is making its triumphant return as the latest and greatest when it comes to a report has this. According to Daniel RPK. Oh, wait, what? Hang on, chat. Hang on, chat. Oh, here it is. According to Daniel RPK, a Star Wars movie that has long since been forgotten is back in development. Can anybody guess what this is? Can anybody guess what this is? Before I pull this up, chat. Before I pull this up, can anybody guess what this is? I won't believe it until it's officially casting. Okay, valid. Valid. Especially when it comes to this one. Especially when it comes to this one. Yes. I see a bunch of you getting it right in the chat. It's Rogue Squadron. Patty Jenkins. Rogue Squadron is reportedly back in development. Now, if you don't know what the hell this is, Patty Jenkins, the director of Wonder Woman, signed on to do this Rogue Squadron movie, honestly, maybe 6 years ago? Could it have been 6 years ago? Around 5 or 6 years ago. This was actually supposed to come out in 2023. Think about that. We were supposed to have this Rogue Squadron movie 2 years ago. We'd be celebrating the 2-year anniversary of Rogue Squadron, not Ahsoka Season 1, which is absolutely insane. Some things happened with, she had some things going on with Wonder Woman 3, which got canceled, and then Rogue Squadron gets sort of canceled or postponed because they didn't want Rogue Squadron to be the first movie that comes out into theaters. They wanted it to be the Rey movie, and now they want it to be the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, which makes sense because it's a guaranteed success, which is Din Djarin and Grogu. But now it's back on the table. Now, this is really strange to me because we have a movie going into production next month, literally in a couple weeks, titled Starfighter, starring Ryan Gosling and all this. Matt Smith is involved as the villain, and it's Starfighter. It's literally called Starfighter. Very similar to a Rogue Squadron type of story. So, let's talk about this. First things first, tell me in the chat. Do you want Rogue Squadrons to be made? Now, very little is known about this movie, much like all the other Star Wars movies that have been announced, but very little is known about this. It's going to be an X-Wing movie. I mean, whether it takes place after Return of the Jedi or after The Rise of Skywalker, it does seem like this is going to be a story all about an X-Wing pilot. Maybe it's Wedge, probably not, because they'd have to deepfake him the whole time. But maybe it's like a Carson Teva, or who knows who else. It could be a brand new character for all we know. However, are you excited for this? Would you watch this movie? Yes or no? Tell me in the chat. And before you even, while you do that, let's not forget that, when did this come out? 4 years ago. Can I get an exact release date here? Oh, so almost 5 years ago. December 10th, 2020. Almost 5 years ago, we got this.
I love to move fast and speed of any kind. I think that that's because I grew up the daughter of a great fighter pilot, and every day I would wake up and go outside and look up and see my father and his squadron taking off and their F-4s roaring across the sky, and it was the most thrilling thing still I've experienced in my entire life. So when he lost his life in service to this country, it ignited a desire in me to turn all of that tragedy, and thrill into one day making the greatest fighter pilot movie of all time. But try as I might and look as I did, I couldn't find the right story ever. I kept looking and looking, but I just couldn't find the right one until now. Now I found a movie about two things I love. So I'm going to see you very soon.
I remember it like it was yesterday that we watched that for the first time, or I watched that for the first time. This channel wasn't really even around at that time, but I remember how hyped that got a lot of people, and it got me hyped too. I'll get to that super chat in 1 sec. It got me hyped too. Patty Jenkins talking about her father and how this means so much to her, how much she loves Star Wars and loves fighter pilot stuff, and how she's going to make the best fighter pilot movie of all time, and that would be in Star Wars. That got us all ridiculously hyped up, and then this project went nowhere. So is that hype still there? Is the possibility of Patty Jenkins making the best fighter pilot movie ever in the Star Wars universe, is that hype still there? Do you still want that? Because even watching that trailer almost 5 years later has still got me ridiculously hyped up to see this movie, even though it didn't exist, even though this movie never happened. Some of the coolest scenes in Star Wars are from Rogue One or Revenge of the Sith or Return of the Jedi or Rise of Skywalker. It's the space battles, the awesome scenes of the X-Wings flying around. And what made Star Wars a success is a lot of different variables. One of the biggest things is that trench run from A New Hope. Seeing that epic space battle with X-Wings and TIE fighters, that's what makes Star Wars so damn good, or at least one of the aspects that does. And giving an entire story about that, whatever the battle may be, maybe it's the Battle of Jakku, which would be awesome, because that's really the last sort of big battle that stops the Empire, at least until it turns into the Remnant, and then Thrawn comes back and the First Order rises to power. But the Battle of Jakku is the final thing that puts the nail in the coffin in Palpatine's empire, at least for a little bit. So it'd be cool to see that be the story. Whatever it may be, getting to see an awesome dogfight in space or even in the atmosphere with X-Wings and TIE fighters and whatever it is, that would be awesome. And that was 5 years ago. So is the hype for this still there? What do we think? Now, this is marketing. It is great marketing. That's an incredible trailer, but this was 5 years ago. This never happened. This never happened. Samuel, what's up? How we doing? I like the director's passion. I will watch it regardless because it's Star Wars. Do I need it? I don't know, though. Okay, interesting. I've never seen that trailer before. Really? Yeah, I mean, this came out almost 5 years ago, so maybe some people didn't catch it. A movie from a pilot's POV would be awesome, too. Well, the problem with that, though, is now you have to talk about it. Starfighter exists. So that already happened. Like, this could be, Starfighter with Ryan Gosling could be this, or an adaptation of this. Now, there is a little bit more to this report, because some people are talking that this Rogue Squadron movie could be adapted into Simon Kinberg's trilogy. We talked about Simon Kinberg's trilogy this week, actually. There was some big news about how he was talking Empire Strikes Back is his favorite Star Wars movie, Andor is his favorite Star Wars show. That got people really excited because he's talking about how in Star Wars you have this great, awesome, cool, epic battles with lightsabers and space fights and whatever, but you also have to have a personal connection to these characters. Like in Empire, you have Han and Leia's relationship. You have Luke training to become a Jedi. You have that personal relationship, and of course, Vader being his father. But in Andor, I mean, come on. You fall in love with all these different characters that you never even met before, and then they die, and you feel so sad about it because it was written so well. And Simon Kinberg is talking about those two projects and how he wants to turn his trilogy into that. And now the report is saying that this Rogue Squadron movie might be adapted into Simon Kinberg's trilogy. Honestly, as much as hate that Simon Kinberg is getting from Star Wars fans right now because he made Dark Phoenix, which is beyond insane, because not only did he make Dark Phoenix, he made all the other X-Men movies too. All the good ones too that they don't want to talk about. And he co-created Rebels. So as much crap as Simon Kinberg is getting online right now because he's making the next Star Wars trilogy, and that's just how it works, I guess, in Star Wars, he should be getting rewarded for talking about all this stuff. And his trilogy, if you're looking in the right places, might be incredible. It might be awesome. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Is there any mention of a Rogue Squadron in the sequel trilogy? No. No, there is not. However, that doesn't mean that they didn't exist. There's no mention of Mandalorians. There's no mention of Grand Admiral Thrawn. If they bring in Mara Jade, there's no mention of Mara Jade in the sequels. Like, there's not a lot of mentioning happening in the sequel trilogy. Beggy says, do you think they will ever finish the unfinished Clone Wars arcs? No. I mean, unless it's for like a Tales story, like a Tales of the Bounty Hunters, and they do the Boba Fett and Cad Bane arc and finish that, then maybe. But like the unfinished arcs of Asajj Ventress and Quinlan Vos are turned into the Dark Disciple novel. So, I mean, maybe they'll do something like that where they turn it into a book or just a mini series or something like that. But if you're talking like a Clone Wars season 8, then no. No. I heard that they that it could be adapted into Ryan Gosling's story where they make a Starfighter trilogy. I think Ryan Gosling's Starfighter movie is going to be much like Rogue One. It's going to be like a Kickstarter to the next phase, if that makes sense. Rogue One is the perfect introduction to A New Hope. It leads directly into A New Hope. It lays the groundwork for A New Hope, but A New Hope is still the beginning of the trilogy. So I think Starfighter is going to be the groundwork layer for the next trilogy, which is most likely going to start with the Rey movie, and maybe Simon Kinberg's trilogy is disconnected from that, or maybe that is the Simon Kinberg trilogy. It's all up in the air right now. Yeah. Yeah. I think they're sitting on so much cash by not finishing the last 40 episodes. So many fans would tune back into the original Clone Wars content. I agree with you. I mean, that's why you see the success of like The Bad Batch, and now we're getting a Maul series. But I don't know if they'd ever go back and make a season 8, because season 7 of the Clone Wars is the perfect ending. Like the perfect ending. The best arc in the Clone Wars, in my personal opinion, is that Siege of Mandalore, and that ends it perfectly. So to go back and continue it would be a little bit more difficult, I think. Yeah. This is a great day if this is true, because we could be getting 2 movies about pilots. It is possible that they could do the Starfighter movie and the Rogue Squadron movie. Honestly, if Starfighter is a success, it might help Rogue Squadron drastically. Yeah. Josh says they took the Rey movie off the schedule, and it doesn't look like they're going forward with it. Well, no. It's not off the schedule. It's supposed to start filming next year. And I know I've been saying that for years now, but it's supposed to start filming next year. And the reason that they keep postponing the Rey movie specifically is because they don't want it to be the first movie back into theaters. They want to lay some groundwork so that people are open to the idea of a Rey movie when it comes out. Because right now, you hear Rey movie and people go, sequels? No. Rey? No. But if Starfighter sets it up in a way where you are invested in the characters from Starfighter, maybe Ryan Gosling's nephew character, that's rumored to be in there, and he might be a Force user who's going to Rey's Jedi Temple, and they set that up very well, then more people will be looking forward to that. Yeah. So you like all Star Wars, correct? There is no Star Wars that I've found yet that I've despised, that I've hated. There's certain projects that I don't like as much as others, but I've never seen a Star Wars project that I'm like, ugh. I can't watch that. You call this Star Wars? No. So I can't say I've found that. Yeah. Call it Forgotten Tales of the Clone Wars. Now that I'd watch. That I'd watch. Or just Tales of the Clone Wars. Or Tales of the Clones. Or Tales of the Bounty Hunters. Or Tales of... Yeah, I mean, Tales of anything. The Tales anthology series have done so much to extending those stories. I mean, the Dooku and Ahsoka one, which is Tales of the Jedi, is like just perfection, continuing two legacy characters in a very cool way. Tales of the Empire was not received as well because the characters aren't nearly as important as Ahsoka and Count Dooku. So, following Morgan Elsbeth and Barriss Offee is not as compelling to many Star Wars fans, even though those stories were pretty cool. And then going back to Asajj Ventress and Cad Bane was really cool. So hopefully the next time, maybe they go to Captain Rex or they go to Boba Fett and finish those arcs from the Clone Wars. That'd be cool. That'd be cool. Yeah. Honestly, there's no way Star Wars fans who enjoy the Mandalorian and Grogu movie and Starfighter who dislike or thoroughly hate the sequel trilogy are going to be duped into wanting a Rey movie. Nope. Well, what you're forgetting there is that Starfighter is going to be connected to the sequels. Like Starfighter's 5 years after Rise, it's going to tell the story of the aftermath of the Battle of Exegol and the aftermath of the First Order, and it's going to set up the Rey movie. So I disagree. If people really like the Starfighter movie, they're going to be more open to the Rey movie. Yeah. Indeed. Because it's cool that because it's cool that you like all of Star Wars instead of hating on certain parts of it. I personally loved The Acolyte. Oh my God, Beggy, don't even get me started. The Acolyte's one of my favorites. And it kills me every day that it gets so much hate online. Not that I want people to love it because I love it. That's like, if you don't like it, you don't like it, that's fine. But just the hate it gets constantly, it's brutal. And of course, not getting a second season, which is just going to haunt me for the rest of time. Hello there. Do you think Sean Levy will get a trilogy of episode 10, 11, 12? No. I think Sean Levy's doing just Starfighter and that's it. Could Simon Kinberg's be 10, 11, 12? I hope not, but it could be the case. Yeah. Sadly, I think it could be. Oh, I missed the super chat. Hang on. My fault. Hang on, chat. Hang on, chat. Ron with the very generous $5 holla. I appreciate that. Ron says, excited about any new Star Wars. That's kind of where I'm at too. There's a varying level of excitement. For Ahsoka Season 2, I'm all the way up here. For the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, I'm like here. For Maul series, I'm like here. And then for Visions Volume 3, I'm like here. That's not that I'm not excited for it. It's just not as excited as other projects. Yeah. But I appreciate the super chat. Super chats, memberships, keep the lights on over here. And Jordan Rennie just kept the lights on for quite some time. Yeah. Your optimism is what brought me to your channel. I appreciate that. There's a lot of things I don't like about all the hate content for the sake of just making content. It's exhausting. So I appreciate you. Well, that just made my day. I appreciate that quite a bit. If you guys don't know, maybe you're new to the channel, whatever it may be, that's the reason I made this channel in the first place. I made it to create this people who love Star Wars community where people can talk about the stuff they love about Star Wars without getting absolutely shit on by the people who are just hating to hate online. Now, sometimes we get those haters in this chat, and that's perfectly fine. But as long as they're respectful, I don't care. But what I will say is that was the goal. So the fact that goal has been achieved to a level, at least, we're still going up. We're still going up in the world. The fact that we've gotten to this point is insane. I could not thank you guys enough, first of all, for just being here listening in the first place, but for creating that environment of a positive Star Wars fandom. You guys could all come in here, all 60 plus of you right now that are in the chat, could have come in here and been like, Mike, you suck! Star Wars sucks! Visions Volume 3 is gonna suck! Rogue Squadron's gonna suck! But you don't do that, you know? So it's all on you guys. You guys set the tone. I just keep it going, you know? I'm just the guy who babbles on for hours on end. Yeah. But I appreciate you. Yeah. Okay. Anthony says, here's a question. How will Disney/Lucasfilm play their cards? Are they doing a film to make the sequel trilogy fans happy? Sequel trilogy fans happy? Or to fix that time period? Or to comfort unhappy fans? Well, honestly, Lucasfilm has the hardest job in the world, and that is to please everybody. We've talked about this before, but it's the reason that they're doing so many different types of projects. From Dawn of the Jedi all the way to the Simon Kinberg trilogy. 25,000 years of content being explored in different spots in the timeline because fans love different things. So many fans want a Dawn of the Jedi thing. Some people don't. They want more legacy characters. So you're getting that. You're getting more Mandoverse stuff. You're getting more sequel trilogy content. You're getting a Maul series, which will definitely have Vader in it and probably Palpatine too, and some other legacy characters as well. So you can, whatever you like, you're getting. There's still comics coming out right now, the Jedi Knight comics, that are following Jedi, prequel era Jedi. So whatever you like in Star Wars, Lucasfilm is trying to provide that. So to answer your question, what are they trying to do with the sequel trilogy? They're trying to do all of it at the same time. Please the sequel trilogy fans who already know and love those characters, but also fix the sequel trilogy, I put in quotations, for fans who don't like it but are open to the idea of liking it in the future. For me, the way I look at the sequel trilogy is I can watch it and enjoy myself. Is there certain things that I don't particularly like? Yes. But things that I think can be fixed. Somehow Palpatine Returns can be fixed. Because the explanation just isn't there. Well, it's starting to be there. Project Necromancer, the Bad Batch, Mount Tantus, Shadow of the Sith explaining the dagger with Ochi of Bastoon. Even Project Necromancer being mentioned in The Mandalorian and Grogu, or in The Mandalorian. That stuff is already making the sequel trilogy better for me. If we get a Luke Skywalker Jedi Temple show showing the downfall of Ben Solo, that immediately is going to make the character of Kylo Ren better. The same way that seeing Anakin's fall to the dark side in the Clone Wars and the prequel trilogy makes Vader a way more compelling character. Now you know that evil character under the mask has this wife that died, has these children that he didn't know he had, has this master that he had to turn against, and a Padawan who left the Jedi Order. All that stuff adds to the story. We don't have that for the sequel trilogy. None of it. None for Ben Solo, none for Luke Skywalker, none for any of it. And if you get that, I think for a lot of fans, not everybody, but for a lot of fans, it will make them look at it in a different way, make them like the sequel trilogy a little bit more. And that's okay. And even if you don't like it a little bit more, that's okay too. So for a person like me, to get a Luke Skywalker show that shows how he ends up being the old hermit on Ahch-To, I need that. It's like not showing how Yoda and Obi-Wan became the old hermits on Tatooine and Dagobah. I wasn't alive during the original trilogy, but if I was, I'm sure I'd be asking those questions. If the Jedi were all so powerful, what happened? If Luke Skywalker was also powerful, what happened? And I want to know that. So, to me, I think their goal with the sequel trilogy, it's not to fix it. I mean, I guess it is to fix it for some fans, but it's to please everybody. And it's to please the sequel fans by continuing the story with Rey, but also to help make the sequels better by doing those other projects around the sequel trilogy to make the story inside the sequel trilogy look better. Much like we were just talking about, the Clone Wars makes the prequels vastly better, especially Anakin's fall to the dark side. So many fans complained for years about how Anakin's fall feels so quick. I disagree. You see in Attack of the Clones, he starts to lose it, and of course, kills all the youngling Tusken Raiders and the women too, the women and the children too. because of his mom, and then he has the nightmares about Padme. It does feel like a very good progression to the dark side. But when you add in the Clone Wars, when you add in the fact that he had an apprentice that saw the flaws in the Jedi Order and left, she left. That is a huge part as to why he falls to the dark side. Not even that, there's way more to it. They stage Obi-Wan's death and don't tell Anakin about it. The Jedi really just shot themselves in the foot when it came to. They were begging Anakin to fall to the dark side, begging him to fall to the dark side throughout the Clone Wars. But that wouldn't have been known if it wasn't for making the Clone Wars series. So adding more content to the sequel trilogy is only going to make it better. I take that back. If it sucks, it sucks, okay? There's no denying that. If the Clone Wars was absolute trash, well, then it wouldn't make the prequels better. Yeah. Okay. So I hope that answered your question. Yeah. They're trying to please everybody, and that's literally impossible, but they're going to try and please the most people that they can. Yeah. One thing a lot of people miss from The Rise of Skywalker is that some of Palpatine's fleet survived, and they're stranded on Exegol. What if somebody finds them? Possibly a villain? Now I'm trying to remember how Rise of Skywalker ended. I don't know if the fleet survived. Well, okay. I will agree with you that there has to be some sort of threat remaining, much like after Jedi, Return of the Jedi, there was remnant of the Empire. There has to be some remnant of this First Order. Remnant of Palpatine's following. So I don't know who the villain will be in Starfighter and in the Rey movie, but it will probably be something along those lines. Yeah. Mike, your positivity is contagious, and you're one of the only people I've seen that matches my own love for Star Wars. Well, that's also a reason I started the channel. People in my life were like, Mike, stop talking about Star Wars. You're really annoying. And I was like, okay. Okay. And then I was like, well, I want to find a place where I can talk about Star Wars with people who like Star Wars just as much as I like Star Wars. And they won't get upset at me when I talk about Star Wars. So I appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah. Nathan says, I wish people were more grateful because in the 90s, all we had were books. EU books, too. And after Revenge of the Sith, there was nothing. I appreciate everything that we've gotten. Well, that's a good way to look at it. That's a good way to look at it. It's very hard to do, but we see they can mostly please the majority of people because season 1 and 2 of Mando seemed to be loved. I agree with you. Season 1 and 2 of Mando seemed to be loved, but every once in a while, I'll still see a person who really, really hates The Mandalorian. Like, beyond hates it. And, I mean, that's their opinion. That's perfectly fine. But it's never going to be a 100% consensus on anything. Even the original trilogy. Some people watch the original trilogy now and say it's too outdated, or it's the lightsaber fights aren't fast enough, or whatever it is. Some people just don't. You're never going to have 100% of people agree on anything, especially in Star Wars, even in anything in life, but in Star Wars specifically because the fandom is so enormous and everybody has different opinions. So I may say I love the Acolyte. You may say you hate the Acolyte. I may say I don't like Visions very much. You might think Visions is the greatest thing ever. There's nothing wrong with that, but we both are Star Wars fans. That's the coolest part about the galaxy far, far away. Mike, can we get a better look at your t-shirt, please? Sure. It's Luke Skywalker, then Luke Skywalker versus Ewoks, then versus the Wampa, and then versus himself. I like this shirt. I got it pretty recently. Yeah. So I don't know how we got here from talking about Patty Jenkins' Rogue Squadron movie, but that's just how it works sometimes on the live streams. So let me put up a poll in the chat to put sort of a nail in the coffin on this. If Patty Jenkins, if this is true, if these reports are true, would you go watch the Patty Jenkins Rogue Squadron movie? Yes or no? Let's put this up in a poll, okay? By the way, 55%, that dropped. 55% of you guys are excited for Visions Volume 3. 45% are not. Let's take a look at this. Do you want Patty Jenkins Rogue? Oh my God. Rogue Squadron. Yes or no? Do you want to see Patty Jenkins' Rogue Squadron movie finally get made after all these years? Honestly, I'm 100% yes. Even after watching that 5-year-old trailer, it's got me so hyped up. Like, give her the greatest fighter pilot movie of all time. Let her do this, not only for her father, but just for Star Wars fans. Like, we want a cool X-Wing movie. Why not? It doesn't have to be the first movie of a next trilogy. It doesn't. It can be its own thing, much like Solo or Rogue One. It could be the next Rogue One, which would be, incredible. Rogue One's a top-tier movie at this point. But it doesn't have to be like the Mandoverse is hopefully going to be a trilogy. Simon Kinberg's trilogy. The Rey movie, hopefully a trilogy. It doesn't have to be that. Yeah. But tell me in the chat. Tell me in the chat. Do I desire it? No. Would I watch it? Absolutely. Okay. That's I guess a good way to look at it. That's a good way to look at it. Did a filmmaker block the moment you're asking for? Yes. I don't know what that means. Yes, I would. However, it has to be good. Yeah, that's the hope. It has to be good. And take inspiration from Rogue Squadron series. Otherwise, why is the title that? Well, that's, I assume it would. There's also a Rogue Squadron video game. I assume it would. But yeah, it has to because of the title, And yes, we hope it's good. We hope it's good. What do you think Lucasfilm will announce at D23? Any new movies, etc.? Well, D23 is a week from today. A week from today is D23. Honestly, I don't know how many new projects will be announced. Probably none. But updates on Maul Shadowlord, maybe a release date, maybe a trailer would be great. Probably the trailer for Visions Volume 3 because they didn't release it yesterday with the poster, which I thought they would, but they didn't. So maybe a Visions Volume 3 trailer. And if we're lucky, the official teaser trailer for the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. Now, released publicly, I'm saying. Released publicly. Because if it's released to the people there, that's one thing. But if it's released publicly, that's a very different thing. Yeah. But tell me in the chat, do you guys think we'll get anything new announced next weekend? Maybe like a Skeleton Crew Season 2 would be the only thing I could guess. But, I don't know. We could get an update on Starfighter, but that doesn't start filming until September, so it wouldn't even have started filming. Maybe they officially announced Matt Smith cast or maybe something like that. I don't think anything new will be announced, but we'll get updates on the stuff that's being worked on. Oh, Ahsoka Season 2. We'll definitely get an update on Ahsoka Season 2 because we got this insane update before it even started filming at Star Wars Celebration where Dave Filoni was talking about all this crazy stuff. A war in our Star Wars, Grand Admiral Thrawn versus Admiral Akbar. These just behind the scenes, what are they called? Not previs, but you know what I mean. Concept art. Yes, concept art. Concept art of Season 2. So now they've filmed it. They're not done filming yet, but they've started to film for the last 3 or 4 months. So they'll have something. Maybe a teaser trailer for the people in attendance. That's what they did last year with the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. So maybe a leaked Ahsoka season 2 trailer would be insane. Yeah. Man, they're not going to release the Mandalorian trailer until 6 months before it comes out in the movies. I hope not. Well, first of all, they've already shown 2 trailers. They just haven't released them publicly. And I've seen the trailer a million times because it gets leaked out there. So why not just release it publicly for reals this time? You know? A Chimera series? That would be very interesting. If they said, we're not going to do Acolyte Season 2, but we're going to do a Chimera series. The Stranger. They called it The Stranger. Do you think that would go over better? Interesting. Do you think if they released a show called The Stranger, it would be better off than them releasing The Acolyte Season 2? Because for most people, or not most people, I should say, but the select few online that make a lot of money crapping on Star Wars or crapping on anything, they crap on just everything. They make a lot of money doing it. Those people had a field day with The Acolyte. I'm only half convinced that they even watched it, but that's a whole nother thing. If it's titled something different, then they won't be looking at it like this is the perfect thing, the perfect excuse to crap on Star Wars with The Acolyte Season 2. If they just change the title, what if they didn't call it The Stranger? What if they called it Plagueis? A Darth Plagueis show. It showed the end of The Acolyte Season 1 and morphed into a young Palpatine show. Even the haters thought he was good. Some of them maybe. It would make a lot of sense because he was the best character in The Acolyte. I agree with that. Yeah. Even better. Okay, so if they titled it Plagueis, Darth Plagueis, and it was about for the Acolyte fans, again, pleasing everybody, for the Acolyte fans, it continued the story of the Acolyte with Chimera and Osha, putting an end cap on all that. And then it morphed into a young Palpatine show, maybe in season 2, or maybe at the end of season 1. But it was a Darth Plagueis-centered show. What do we think about that? I don't think there's anybody that would say no to a Darth Plagueis series. You know? A show dedicated to a gonk droid that ends up... the gonk droid that ends up on the Jawa Sandcrawler. As much as I love a good gonk droid, I don't know if many people will watch that. Yeah. I don't know about that. F yeah, let's go. That's what I like to see. Oh my God, John. I'd leave my wife for a live-action Plagueis novel. He said it, not me.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Hopefully your wife doesn't watch this live stream. Yeah. How many viewers of The Acolyte even knew that creepy guy in the cave was Darth anyone? Well, I hope a lot of them. Well, I would assume most. But I don't know. I don't know. Okay, by the way, 72% of you say, yes, you do want the Rogue Squadron Patty Jenkins movie. Okay, I want it too. That trailer got me hyped up. The fact that she's talking about, what this means to her with her father and all that great stuff. And I want to see a X-Wing, just all space battle Star Wars movie. Obviously, there's got to be a good plot there, but still, the Battle of Jakku would be perfect. I never really thought of anything else. I don't know. There's plenty of battles out there that could be great. But either way, sign me up. Sign me up. Okay. Inject the Darth Plagueis series into my veins. You guys are crazy. You guys are out of control.
This is where the fun begins.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on. Okay. So this is the latest and greatest when it comes to the Rey news. Not only is she getting her own movie, but a continuation of her story is being told. Rey returns to Star Wars in an unexpected Last Jedi sequel before the new Jedi Order movie. So a sequel to The Last Jedi. Get a load of this. While Daisy Ridley's return as Rey is in the Star Wars New Jedi Order movie is still a ways away because it hasn't even started filming yet, Rey is about to make her official return to Star Wars, or to the Star Wars universe, sorry, for the first time since The Rise of Skywalker. So that sounds like a very bold statement, but characters like Kylo Ren have been around getting stories told about them for the last couple years. Specifically, when you look at this comic run is going on right now. Where the hell is it? Oh, here we go. This comic run is going on right now. Legacy of Vader. It's a Kylo Ren comic. It's telling the story between The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker, much like they did the Vader comics. It's actually genius titling it Legacy of Vader to get those Vader comic fans to come over to the Kylo Ren ones. But this is also a great cover. This was just revealed today. But it's Vader's helmet going on to Kylo Ren's head. It's a continuation of the sequel trilogy with a fan favorite character of Kylo Ren telling his story. So now we get a Rey version of that, in a way. But don't expect this new story to illuminate anything related to the new Jedi Order. It might, but it's still in the works. According to recent Star Wars reports, instead of the first story of Rey since The Rise of Skywalker, we'll dive into a period immediately after the events of The Last Jedi and expand on what happened between the escape of Crate and the year that passed before the Emperor Palpatine announced his return to the galaxy. Hang on. Can I get some good cups full orders in the chat, please? Bumpa. Okay. So, with this, there's a lot of time gaps in the Star Wars timeline. I mean, the biggest one is probably, well, in the Skywalker saga, I should say. Because the biggest one is probably the gaps between the trilogies. But in between movies, there's a 10-year gap between The Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. There's a couple-year gap between Empire and Jedi, I think. There's at least a year gap. Either way, The Last Jedi to The Rise of Skywalker is the biggest gap in the sequel trilogy. It's about a year. And that's, of course, that year ends with Palpatine announcing his return. The dead speak. And that's when that whole Rise of Skywalker story begins. So there's a big gap in between there, where we see the Battle of Crate end The Last Jedi, and then where the Rise of Skywalker starts with Kylo Ren on Mustafar, slicing and dicing, and Rey having trained with Leia and become a lot more powerful in the Force in between movies, much like Luke does in between Empire and Jedi. So, according to Lucasfilm Press, Star Wars The Jaws of Jakku will see Rey return to the desert planet Rey called home to confront her childhood and expand her Jedi training in this audible original audio adventure. Audible original audio adventure, too. She won't be the only character in this last Star. She won't be the only character from this last Star trilogy to make a return in this project. So here we have BB-8 and Rey on the cover on Jakku. So we're gonna get to see what happens. Her train some more, which is a big deal for a lot of fans because they didn't think she got nearly enough training. But the same could be said about Luke Skywalker. Rey's return in the Jaws of Jakku. Following the events, so this is the sort of paragraph that describes the story. The synopsis, thank you. Following the events of The Last Jedi, Rey struggles to let go of her lonely childhood on the desert planet of Jakku. Hoping to have a breakthrough in her Jedi training, she returns to her home world with Finn and BB-8 in tow. So Finn is coming along on some Jedi training, possibly setting up post-sequel stuff. We'll see. But when they meet a young girl on a dangerous mission to save her family. Interesting. They travel through pitch black tunnels beneath the sand where they encounter scurrying, gnawing jaws like sharks, a haunting terror from the past, and maybe, just maybe, hope for them all. So, just sounds like a cool little adventure on Jakku, but the involvement of Finn, the fact that there's going to be some Jedi training going on, it could be pretty interesting, not only to set up the post-sequel stuff with Rey and her new Jedi Order, but also to fill in the gaps and maybe for some fans, make it feel like she has more training going on there. Star Wars The Jaws of Jakku is produced under the Audible Originals label, crafting the original audiobook as an exclusive on the app. It could also expand a bit on Finn's feelings after what happened on Crate. Well, he almost did die. And author Cavan Scott also teases that a major Star Wars legend will appear as well. Interesting. Out Thursday, October 9th, so October 9th. The exclusive audiobook is set between The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker and sees Rey struggling with her training under the new master, General Leia Organa. Scott wrote on the website. So if they're talking openly about Leia Organa being there training Rey, well then who is this major Star Wars legend they're talking about here? Major Star Wars legend. Any guesses, Chet? Cavan Scott is a great Star Wars author. I recognize the name, but I don't know what other books he wrote. Either way, this is really cool. Anything for me to dive deeper into the characters of the sequels has me excited because it makes it better. I mean, it could be a horrible book, but hopefully it makes it better. Especially when it comes to Finn and Rey, because their stories will continue after the sequel trilogy. Any guesses on who this major Star Wars legend might be? If it's not Leia? I honestly have no idea. I never get why people, Rey needs training when Luke got to meet today. Wait, what? I don't know what that means. Oh, he got a vision about his friends and then leaves in the middle of his training and nobody complains about that. Well, yeah. I mean, Rey's story is very similar to Luke's. And I think this, again, showing this training under General Leia Organa, first of all, getting to see more stories with Leia is going to be great, but Leia training Rey is going to be even cooler. Getting to see Rey just have more training will be good for a lot of people, you know? Luke's Force Ghost? Maybe. I don't know. I feel like Luke's Force Ghost appearing in Rise of Skywalker is like the first time that they saw them, you know? At least Luke got training on screen. What is The Last Jedi? You know? Listening to the Dark Disciple book, it's a good read if you haven't started reading it yet. I mean, the Audible books are so awesome. I listened to Dark Disciple earlier this year, and I just finished the Heir to the Empire books again, and I'm reading Darth Plagueis again. Because the audio books give you sound effects and voice acting, and it's just, it's awesome. So, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But major legend, the only one I can really think of is like Lando, but we see Lando in Rise of Skywalker too. Maybe, I don't know. I have no idea. Hopefully it'll be a surprise. Because I can't think of any. And Jakku, like who would be on Jakku? Hondo Unaka, maybe? I'm trying to think of like who would be on Jakku and why would they be there, you know? I don't know. We'll have to see. Helen Sandler, sure. Sadler? Yeah. Will provide the vocal performances for the audiobook, while Cavan explained that the story will be told in the first person from the point of view of the young girl on Jakku. Interesting. That means we'll get her inner workings as Rey and company leads the charge to rescue her family. Fascinating. The audiobook will be released on October 9th, and it's available for pre-order now for $24.95. Could it be any more specific? on Audible. Anybody get my Chandler Bing reference? No. It was also available under a token under Audible's premium subscription. If you guys don't know this, and this is not like a sponsor for Audible or anything, Audible, if you're listening, hit me up. Now, if you have Amazon Prime, you get a free token for a free book, Audible book, every single month. It's crazy. As for the return of Daisy Ridley's Hero to the big screen, fans will still have to wait a while before it comes up for air because, that we won't get into that now. But so that's that new Rey book, new sequel trilogy story in between The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker, getting to dive deeper into the characters of Rey and Finn as she trains with Leia Organa in the ways of the Force, getting more training as a Jedi and going on this cool mission back on her home world and meeting a major Star Wars legend, whoever that may be. So that's pretty cool. That was announced 2 days ago, yesterday, something like that. So that's pretty damn cool. I'm definitely going to check it out. And even if you don't check it out, I'm sure I will give you the recap. But that's pretty awesome. Wow, this poll is not the way I thought it was going to go. But let's take this up. 69% of you, nice, do want Patty Jenkins' Rogue Squadron movie. I think that would have been different just a week ago, or maybe even a couple days ago. I feel like the openness to more Star Wars movie has rapidly increased, especially because we finally actually are getting one. But yeah, Yoda, interesting, because Yoda's Force Ghost does appear to Luke in The Last Jedi. That'd be crazy if Yoda's Force Ghost appeared to Rey. That'd be wild. Yoda does appear to like Ezra and stuff too, but that's when he's still alive. I don't know. I'd love to do. Wait, what? What I'd love to do is read Star Wars books and listen to John Williams at the same time. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I think a lot of people's problem that they found with the training of Rey is that they got. Wait, what? I think the problem was that they found that the training Rey got was a lot more lackluster. She learned meditation. She swung a lightsaber a couple of times. True. But doesn't she get the exact same training that Luke does? Like Yoda picks up the X-Wing from the swamp. Luke picks up the X-Wing from the swamp or the cliff. The only difference is Luke doesn't hop on Rey's back and they go jumping through a forest. She even has the dark side cave moment too. You know? It's almost the exact same. Would Grogu be considered a legend? Oh my God, I didn't even think of that. Grogu would be insane because we don't know what happens to him after the sequel trilogy. That would be awesome. Or even during the sequel trilogy. That would be cool. I like that a lot. Star Wars Nerd, what's up? Do you think we'll see CGI Luke again? Yes. Absolutely. Whether it's in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie or Ahsoka Season 2 or the next Mando movie, Dave's movie, we'll definitely be seeing Luke's character again. Yeah. Oh my God. Jedi Journeys with a very generous $20 holla. God damn. Says, being a female fan of Star Wars, wanted to thank you for being optimistic about how the franchise will continue Rey's story. Well, I appreciate that. They did go off the rails with the Palpatine bloodline, but she's still an important character. I agree and disagree with you. I think the Palpatine being thrown in there in the last movie was just a Hail Mary pass. But if it was planned from the beginning, and now it is planned, how they can build up Rey being a Palpatine is actually really, really cool. Because even in the book like Shadow of the Sith, again, if you guys haven't checked out this book, you have to. This book right here, Shadow of the Sith, it dives into very young Rey and her parents and Ochi of Bastoon and the dagger and Luke Skywalker and Lando Calrissian. It's a very good story. But now that she is a Palpatine and that's established, the way that they've built that up in books and in canon is really, really cool. I just wish it was the plan from the beginning. Her being a Palpatine is not a big issue to me. I actually think it's pretty cool. because of the connection between the Palpatines and the Skywalkers all throughout the Skywalker saga. Her being a Palpatine and then a Skywalker at the end, that's pretty cool. I wouldn't have been upset if she was an Obi-Wan, or a Kenobi, I should say, or a Skywalker either, but her being a Palpatine is actually very intriguing, even when she's spewing lightning out of her fingertips. But I will say, I do agree with you that Rey's future in the franchise is the most important. Post-sequel-wise, however she sets up a new Jedi Order, that's insanely important. She might not be the main character anymore, and that's fine. There's plenty more new characters to develop. Maybe even Finn could be a main character. She's already had her time, you know? Like, she has the whole sequel trilogy where she's the main guy. Girl, you get what I meant. She doesn't have to be the main character anymore. She can be the Obi-Wan Kenobi type in the next trilogy or the next project. But she is still unbelievably important because her established new Jedi Order is the future. Whatever they do, her, Finn, Poe, whatever they do, that's the future of the Star Wars storyline. So that's insanely important. So absolutely, you need to be optimistic about the future. That's the future of the whole Star Wars timeline. But I appreciate the super chat. I really, really do. Super chats, memberships keep the lights on over here. Yeah. Have we discussed Visions 3 yet? Yes, we did. Indeed, we did. I didn't mind the Palpatine thing at all. It's just the way they did it. Yeah, it's the execution of it all. Because now when you look back at it, when you watch The Force Awakens, and maybe J.J. Abrams already had this in his head that she was going to be a Palpatine, but when you watch that fight in the forest between Kylo Ren and Rey on Starkiller Base, she's literally wielding a lightsaber like she's Sheev Palpatine, like she's Darth Sidious. She has the lightsaber up here and she's charging at him like Sidious does in Revenge of the Sith. So she has a very similar lightsaber combat just naturally to Palpatine. And the fact that she is a Palpatine makes that fight make so much more sense. Because not only is Kylo Ren injured in the fight because he got shot by a blaster bolt, by Chewie's blaster bolt, but he's a fully trained Jedi by Luke Skywalker. So Rey being able to stand toe-to-toe with him is a big issue that many fans have because Finn gets bested immediately pretty much, which is how it should be. But Rey being able to stand toe-to-toe with Kylo Ren, a fully trained Jedi turns dark side user, that the explanation for that is she is a Palpatine. Her raw strength is of the level of Palpatine and Luke and Anakin. Not that she's beyond those characters, but she's around that same level of just raw strength. And that's how she's able to compete, because she is a Palpatine. Sith can't be Force ghosts? No, but yes. No, but yes. Sith can attach themselves to things. Let me phrase that better. Sith can almost bond themselves to an item. You see this with Darth Momin in the Vader comics, but you also see it with like Darth Bane. Darth Bane being in the Clone Wars. When Yoda goes to Moraban, or Korriban in Legends, Moraban in canon. When he goes to the Sith planet of Moraban in the Clone Wars Season 6, and he talks to Darth Bane. That's not a Force ghost of Darth Bane. That's more so just Bane attaching himself to something. If that makes sense. Like, there's no Force ghost Siths. Yes. Indeed. Alex, what's up?
Hello there.
Yeah. And that's not a Force ghost. Exactly. That's not a Force ghost. Sith have a way of continuing their lives after their initial death. The ability that ones may consider to be unnatural. True. I mean, they can sort of last a while after deaths. But that's, yes, it's not a Force ghost. Not a Force ghost. Those are very different things. Indeed. Indeed. So that's the latest and greatest on the Rey front. The movie is supposed to start filming next year. We'll see about that. I hope so. But this book itself is going to be a continuation of the sequel story for a lot of fans. Hopefully, we'll make it a lot better. But again, we'll have to see. Hang on, we got a super chat. 50 Thunder with a very generous $5 holla. You guys are insanely generous today. This is just absolutely insane. Jordan Rennie kicked us off with a bang, but you guys are still insanely generous. And I appreciate it. 50 Thunder says, you see Rey early on fights with her pole weapon thing. Oh, her staff, yes. So she had some fighting skills prior to picking up a lightsaber. True. Yeah. I think a lot of people just don't really look into that too much. They just want to see Rey as the bad guy. And they're not the bad guy, but you know what I mean. As the not so good Luke Skywalker type. And they don't want her to succeed for some reason. So, yeah. I mean, she's a scavenger and was left alone since like the age of 10 on a desert planet. She's got some skills to survive. And she's a Palpatine. Yeah. Indeed. Indeed. Okay. Now we got to talk about Ahsoka and Ahsoka Season 2. So if you've been living under a rock for the last 24 hours, then you don't know that it is the 2-year anniversary of Ahsoka Season 1. It sounds insane that Ahsoka came out 2 years ago. It's just bonkers, but it did. So Ahsoka Season 2 came out 2 years ago. And actually, I want to shout out to Jason, because Jason made these incredible posters for Ahsoka. Take a look at this. This was for Ahsoka Season 1. This was for Episode 8. Episode 7. 6. 5. I mean, look at that. Mandalorian. Them on the Siege of Mandalore. Darkside Anakin. Rex. Awesome. There's more. Hang on. There's more, chat. So shout out to Jason, because these things are awesome. Here's part 4. This was one of my favorites. Just the red trees look so cool. And then the World Between Worlds thing behind them there. Marok. Awesome. Here's 3. Again, the Purgle, the space fight from Episode 3. 2. That's pretty sick. That's pretty cool. And then 1, which again is just Lothal. So cool. So shout out to Jason. These things are awesome. But we got to talk about this for a second. So Ahsoka Season 2, of course, probably doesn't come out for another year. But I will say, people have forgotten, I guess, for lack of a better word, how great Ahsoka Season 1 really is. When you look at this stuff, like the amount of cool things that not only lore building in Star Wars by adding a whole nother galaxy and stuff like that, but the continuation of it being Rebels Season 5, bringing all these characters into live action, but setting the groundwork for not only Grand Admiral Thrawn as the heir to the Empire, but also a possible bigger threat like Abeloth for a future Star Wars story. When you look at these, like you have the cool lightsaber duel in Episode 1 between those two. You have all this lore building of the Night Sisters and Peridia and all that stuff with the Eye of Sion in Episode 2. Episode 3 has the whole space battle with Ahsoka in the very Clone Wars-y-esque, where she's in the spacesuit outside wielding lightsabers, taking on the Marok and the others. It's badass as hell. Then you get arguably the most underrated episode of the entire series with lightsaber duels up the wazoo. Ahsoka versus Marok, Ahsoka versus Balin Skull. You get into the World Between Worlds, get Hayden Christensen back. You got Shin versus Sabine Part 2 in the forest. Unbelievably cool. And then, well, we know what happens after that. You get the greatest episode, arguably of all time, with Episode 5 in the flashbacks all the way to the Clone Wars and stuff like that. And then you get Grand Admiral Thrawn's entrance to live action, Ezra Bridger's entrance to live action, the introduction to the heir to the Empire in a brand new galaxy. Whew! Now we're talking. You got awesome, cool legacy characters, incredible brand new characters like Balin Skull and Shin Hati, and established Mortis gods and probably Abeloth for a second season. Insane. How do I get these? I'll actually send this to the Discord after. If you are not yet in the Discord, of course, join the Discord, but there's a link in the description below. And, of course, become a member. All that fun stuff. Smash a freaking like on the stream if you have not already. Smash a freaking like on the stream if you have not already. But I'll send these over to the Discord. Shout out to Jason. These are awesome. But Ahsoka Season 1 premiered 2 years ago. Absolutely insane. So awesome. Even gave us undead stormtroopers, night sisters, all that fun stuff. So shout out to that. But 1 year from now, or around 1 year from now, we'll be getting Ahsoka season 2. Hopefully a continuation of how great that first season was, and even a step up from that, which would be awesome. Yeah. Irresponsible to the tune of putting the entire galaxy at risk, paving a way for Thrawn to return so she could have her boyfriend back. Well, that was Sabine. Yes. But Ahsoka was also trying to do the same thing, but try to stop Thrawn, which she also failed in doing so. It is very weird because at the end of Ahsoka season 1, Ahsoka's like, this is where we're supposed to be. And that makes sense because she's the living embodiment of the daughter now, the light side of the Force. And they have to stop Abeloth or stop whatever's going on with the Mortis gods there. But she kind of just unleashed Thrawn to the whole galaxy. And it's just like, you guys can deal with that. Now, she knows that Luke is there, of course, and Grogu and all those other heroes that she knows. But still, you know, that's a little like, she's like, here, have Thrawn. You deal with that. You deal with that. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I hope not. This is where the fun begins.
This is where the fun begins.
Oh, today's also Ray Park's birthday, by the way. Shout out to Ray Park. Happy birthday to Ray Park. He is, of course, the guy who was Darth Maul in The Phantom Menace. Not the voice, but he is Darth Maul in The Phantom Menace and in Solo and in Clone Wars Season 7. But happy birthday to Ray Park. So yes, Ahsoka Season 1 premiered 2 years ago today. I mean, come on. Well, let's talk about Season 2, okay? What do you think is going down in Ahsoka Season 2? Let's speculate a little bit here, chat. Let's talk about it. How many Star Wars projects are coming out in 2026? 3 as far as we know of. 3 we know of. Yes. Because, well, Maul Shadow Lord, The Mandalorian and Grogu, and Ahsoka Season 2. There's probably going to be more. Yes, there'll probably be more. But as of right now, we know of the 3. Do we all know that Hayden was de-aged for Ahsoka? Yes, and actually that's very surprising to me. People thought that Hayden Christensen was not de-aged for Ahsoka. Because I was talking about how great the deepfake technology has gotten over the years. You look at the Luke Skywalker from the Book of Boba Fett, but also Anakin from Ahsoka. And people are like, that's not deepfake. Yes, it is! Hayden Christensen is a lot older now because that's how time works. And he looks different than what he looked like when he was 20. So, or 23 or whatever it is, 22. So they had to deepfake him. Duh. Yeah. Actually, it's the Maul Show, Mando, Ahsoka, Zero Company. Yes, I forgot about that. And the Ninth Jedi. True, I forgot about that too. So the Ninth Jedi, because we talked about Visions Volume 3 today, the Ninth Jedi is a spin-off series, limited series of Visions. The Ninth Jedi episode from Season 1 is getting its own series, which I think is kind of cool. I hope they do the same with Ronan and maybe some others, but that is cool. They're not taking this Visions thing and just throwing it to the side. And I forgot about Zero Company. Zero Company is a video game. It's not a it might be co-op, but it's not a multiplayer game. It's not a big like Battlefront game or anything like that, but it is a new Star Wars video game. It's more of like a mobile-ish game, I think. Yeah. Do you think they should make more Star Wars shows or just focus on the movies for now? Well, I think there's a good way to balance both. We've been getting only shows for the last 5 years. And now we're going back to the movies. Next year, we're going to be getting a Star Wars movie, a Star Wars animated show, and a Star Wars live action show. You'll probably get some shorts like the Ninth Jedi stuff or Tales of the whatever, but those are the 3 main things. So you're still getting a live action, an animated, and a movie. I think that works. I mean, I think that's the perfect equation there. One of each. Because before we would get 2 live action, or maybe even 3 live action, and maybe 1 or 2 animated stuff throughout the year. Now you just replace that other live action or the other two live actions with a movie, and now you're still getting great Star Wars content throughout the whole course of the year. Because when it comes to Star Wars movies, it's a one-day release, and that's it. The shows can span for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. So I think having a balance of both is, the name of the game. Yeah. Ronan got the book, true, but I still want more of that specific character. Rebuild the Galaxy, Pieces of the Past has Revan in it. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. We watched that trailer last weekend or whatever that was. And yeah, Revan being in that is very cool because it's, first of all, his first actual appearance on screen. So that's pretty awesome. And hopefully it will lead to getting us a lot more of Darth Revan. Also, Cal Kestis is in it too, which is going to be pretty cool. Yeah. They should have done a deepfake for Anakin and Obi-Wan flashback. 40-year-old Anakin Padawan was weird. Well, they did deepfake that. It just wasn't as good a deepfake as some of the other shows have been. Yeah. But that is definitely deepfaked. It's not just 40-year-old Anakin swinging a lightsaber there. They should do a Lego Star Wars movie in cinemas. I would watch that a million times over again. Maybe you would, and maybe I would too. But I don't think the normie fan would want to go see a Lego Star Wars movie. Hey, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Darth Vader show when? I don't know. I mean, there's been so much talks of a Kenobi season 2 or a Vader series or more Hayden Christensen, more Ewan McGregor. I'd love a Vader show. Don't get me wrong. Just any stories told of the comics, the Vader run, or anything of that sort would be awesome. There's just no news on that. And I don't know if there ever will be. But yes, it is, Ron. As Ron says, it's a great time to be a Star Wars fan. When you look at the future, especially the next 2 years, you look at 2026 and 2027 specifically. Maul Shadow Lord, Mandalorian and Grogu, Ahsoka Season 2, Starfighter, and we have no idea what else is on the horizon. You could be getting a Skeleton Crew Season 2. You could be getting an Acolyte Season 2 or a Boba Fett Season 2 or a Kenobi Season 2. You could be getting some show that we don't even know about yet. Like when they announced Andor, nobody was looking forward to that show. Nobody. Because Andor is just some side character who dies in Rogue One. Spoiler alert! He dies in Rogue One. So to get that show to be so good, they might be taking a little bit more risks here, which would be great. Yeah. Oh, yeah, the article. Hang on. Did you send that to the Discord? Let's see. What? Oh, this. Ah, I see. Okay. Let's take a look at this. What? Why can't I open this? Why can't I open this? Hang on, chat.
Execute Order 66.
Okay, well, that's annoying. I don't know why I can't find this tweet, but I guess I can just read it without showing you guys. Let me see if I can find it. Why does Variety post so many times on Twitter? Oh, my God. When was this posted? Yesterday at 10 a.m. So a little bit over. Let's keep scrolling. Just keep scrolling. Just keep scrolling. So this is talking about Disney and what they're looking for. Oh, this is way more than that. Why do they post so many times on Twitter? What the hell is this? I'm literally just scrolling for days right now here, chat. One sec. We'll get there eventually.
This is where the fun begins.
Aha, I found it. Oh, wait. No, I didn't. Oh, wait. Maybe I did find it. Okay, here we go. Disney's Boy Trouble. Studio seeks original IP to win back Gen Z men amidst Marvel and Lucasfilm struggles. Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty aren't the ones looking for a prince. Okay. Leadership at the at Walt Disney Studios have been pressing Hollywood creatives in recent months. Multiple sources tell Variety for movies that will bring young men back to the brand in a meaningful way. Young men is defined here by the sources of ages 13 to 28, aka Gen Z. That's me. No. So this makes sense. I mean, there's been a lot of misses when it comes to not Star Wars, but Disney lately. A lot of the Pixar and animation stuff from I keep saying Star Wars. Disney has not been hitting as much as people have wanted it to. They've not been making a lot of money either, other than Inside Out 2. But this makes sense. They want new IP. That's sort of what Star Wars Disney has always been about, making new stuff. When it comes to Pixar and just the animation side of things, they usually made really great new ideas and then made sequels off of that. For example, Toy Story, Cars, Incredibles. Trying to think of ones that have sequels. Even ones that don't have sequels, like Ratatouille, or I guess Monsters, Inc. does have a sequel. But those were original ideas. They were good, and then they made sequels to them. That's sort of what they're looking for here. First, every film studio is looking for better ways to convert young audiences into habitual moviegoers. Obviously, that's what they're trying to do. That's what every movie studio is trying to do. That's the goal. Numerous studios show that Gen Z men in particular are a lonely, gaming-obsessed group, okay, who were hampered in their formative years by the lockdowns. Not the easiest segment to grasp. Okay. I'm not alone. Okay. But in all seriousness, I mean, the pandemic did hurt moviegoers quite a bit. You can see that this year in particular. Movies like Fantastic Four and Superman not making nearly as much money as they thought they would. But what's surprising producers and writers and other partners in the large industries is that Disney has been calling for original concepts to lure the demo back to movies. This is not that surprising to me. This is what Disney's doing constantly to try and get new young audiences. But this is the same Disney whose multi-billion-dollar content engines, Marvel and Lucasfilm, Star Wars, have sated men of all ages over almost 2 decades since the company acquired them. I think Lucasfilm sees the struggles with Marvel in particular, Star Wars, of course, not being in the theaters right now, but seeing the struggles of those IPs and wanting to just get more audiences to this place. Because Star Wars is not going anywhere. We just talked about the future slate of Star Wars projects and how great it looks to be a Star Wars fan. And new Star Wars fans are being born every second because grandfathers, fathers, mothers, sisters, brothers, they're all showing their younger siblings or younger children or younger grandchildren Star Wars. So some people's first introduction to Star Wars might be the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. It might have been the sequel trilogy. It might be the Maul Shadow Lord series. That'd be a crazy spot to start, but still, it could be. So I don't think Star Wars is going to have this issue. I think Disney is having this issue as a whole, and they're trying to fix it. The source says that Disney has been seeking new IP in pitches such as splashing global adventures and treasure hunts. Again, this just sounds like looking for the next Pixar movie or something. So, I don't know. Doesn't sound like a huge breaking news to me or anything of that sort. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. Maybe they make the great next Pixar movie. There you have it. There you have it. That was worth scrolling. Also, the price of tickets has gone up too. True. But I still say there's nothing like going to a movie, especially when it comes to Star Wars. There's nothing like watching Star Wars on the biggest screen possible. Yeah. Will we get a Tales of the Sith or more Tales of the Jedi? I'd love more Tales of the Jedi because there's so many Jedi in the prequel trilogy that could get more storytelling, or even post-sequel trilogy. You could get a Bale and Skull one. You get Luke Skywalker one. Ben Solo. There's so many Jedi that could be in a Tales of the Jedi story, but a Tales of the Sith would be awesome too. Yeah. Fantastic Four did not flop. It made its money back and it made some more money, but it definitely didn't make the money that they thought it was going to make. Same with Superman. Yeah. Yeah. I love the way that they're saying this like it's some groundbreaking revolution. Yeah, I know. That was like that's the usual. All studios are always looking for new IP so they can get new audiences. That's the goal. Did you see that the original Clone Wars creator wants to work with Ventress in live action? We did talk about that on Wednesday's live stream over on Jedi Chat podcast, but it doesn't really make much sense to me. I want Ventress to come to live action, that's for sure. Maybe in the Mandoverse, that'd be fantastic. Say that again. But I don't see how he would have anything to do with that. You know? Yeah. I think Bale and Skull goes into the pool of knowledge. That would be wild. If Bale and Skull was like, I'm going to take all the power now, and he became like a god, that would be insane. I'd actually like that a lot. Yeah. Yeah. Do you think they will make more Clone Wars arcs that they skipped on? No. I think the Clone Wars is pretty much done, except for maybe some flashbacks to the Clone Wars era in the future. Yeah. Indeed. Okay, let's read this. Going back to Ahsoka Season 2, let's get back to this. So Ahsoka Season 2 could be Star Wars' most crucial and controversial TV show yet. Ahsoka Season 2 is currently filming right now. And while it has plenty of potential to be an absolute essential addition to the Star Wars movie and TV shows, it could also prove to be Star Wars' most controversial TV show to date for various reasons. At present, Ahsoka Season 2 is the only confirmed live-action project among Star Wars' upcoming TV shows. So after Ahsoka Season 2, there is nothing yet after it. They could announce it maybe next weekend at D23, maybe whenever. But as of right now, it is the only live-action project that is scheduled to release. In fact, there seems to be a shift in the franchise overall as of late. Away from the shows, particularly live-action ones, and towards the movies, because we have an insane amount of movies ready to go. Like, absolutely insane. From Starfighter to the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, shows have become few and further between. Starfighter, Mandalorian, Rogue Squadron movie, Rey movie, Simon Kinberg trilogy, Lando movie, Dave Filoni's movie. Oh, Dawn of the Jedi. So that's at least 10 movies and one live-action Star Wars show. The model now seems to be focusing on movies, with at least 2 animated TV shows or just one new live-action show each year, which, by the way, I'd be perfectly okay with. An animated show and an animated short a year with a live-action one and a movie sounds like the perfect formula. This adjustment means added pressure for Ahsoka Season 2, which could, in turn, lead to quite a bit of controversy, particularly given the theories and rumors regarding the upcoming second season story. Hayden Christensen, of course, being in there. Although the details about Ahsoka Season 2 have been kept tightly under wraps, as is often the case when upcoming Star Wars projects, because Lucasfilm can keep a secret, some significant updates have been announced. One of the biggest thus far has been the news of Hayden Christensen returning in Ahsoka Season 2 as Anakin Skywalker. This was announced at Star Wars Celebration all those months ago. This followed up on the heels of his 2 appearances in Ahsoka Season 1. one in episode 5, Shadow Warrior, in which Anakin and Ahsoka Tano are reunited in the world between worlds, and one in the finale where Anakin appears as a Force ghost on Peridea, watching over Ahsoka and her Padawan, Sabine Wren. Which, by the way, 2 years ago today, Ahsoka premiered. Still absolutely insane. Some peak Star Wars. Given how many abilities Force Ghosts have showcased in recent years, Luke Skywalker grabbing the lightsaber in the sequel trilogy. Oh, I'll just keep reading. Most notably in the sequel trilogy, which saw them be able to interact with objects in the physical realm, the appearance of Anakin's Force Ghosts mean that he could become a very significant character in the upcoming season. What's more, recent Star Wars updates have heavily hinted that Hayden Christensen's role in Ahsoka Season 2 will be substantial, meaning he'll be in it quite a bit, even more than Season 1. Christensen had to pass up on an upcoming convention appearance because Ahsoka was filming until October and he was needed. He has been at other conventions since then, so maybe he's done filming with his parts, or I don't really know. He's had the time to, I don't know. But with the apparent months of filming involved, it's only logical to assume that Hayden Christensen's Anakin will have a major role in Season 2. Major role. Hopefully explaining how Force Ghosts work, but we'll get to that. This is, of course, exciting for fans of Hayden Christensen and Anakin Skywalker / Darth Vader more broadly. But it also has interesting and potentially challenging implications for Star Wars. Namely, if Anakin Skywalker does have a significant role in Ahsoka Season 2, it seems more likely than not that some major update to the Force is coming, which could prove unpopular. Any advancement in Force abilities or Force using or all that stuff, it is a big old risk. Same thing with the Clone Wars introducing the Mortis gods. That's an enormous risk. But Force healing, which we saw with Grogu in The Mandalorian and Rey in Rise, that stuff, it could go very poorly. People could really, really hate it. The dyad in the Force, stuff like that. Force ghosts in general, there's not a lot known about those things, so it'd be very shaky to introduce something new and people not like it. But Ahsoka Season 1 and Season 2 have done something that many other Star Wars projects haven't really tried to do, and that's expand the lore of Star Wars quite a bit. New galaxies, Mortis God stuff, new ways of wielding the Force. Like, that's stuff that we don't really see before. We currently know very little about Anakin's role in Ahsoka Season 2, but the first season of the show laid the groundwork for some truly shocking stuff. In the finale, Ahsoka Season 1, Baylan Skoll was on a clear quest for some information about Mortis gods, which was plain enough when he was shown standing on top of a statue of the Father, as seen right here. Hang on one sec. Sorry, I got a text message. An important one. Okay. As clearly seen right there. This trio of gods, comprising of the father, son, and the daughter, was introduced in the Clone Wars. And despite all three dying during that arc, they remain important. Their return is particularly interesting because these gods embody the Force itself, with the son representing the dark side, the daughter representing the light, and the father embodying the balance between the two of them. It is the latter that may prove particularly exciting and groundbreaking in Ahsoka Season 2. Balance has been a slippery issue in Star Wars, and the true definition has been difficult to pin down. To the Jedi, balance meant the destruction of the Sith, but it doesn't seem to be pretty balanced. That seems to have been an interpretation specifically to them, much like their interpretation of the Chosen One prophecy. Indeed, the Chosen One prophecy doesn't mention destroying the Sith at all. Instead, it says that the being will bring balance to the Force, without clarifying exactly what that meant or will entail. With the return of the Mortis gods and the Chosen One himself in Ahsoka Season 2, it may finally be time for Star Wars to truly define what balance means, which again could be problematic. So, yeah, this article's got a pretty good point. Ahsoka Season 2 has a lot riding on it. Explaining Force Ghosts, explaining the Mortis gods, explaining what balance means in Star Wars, it's pretty difficult stuff to talk about because balance might not mean the destruction of evil. It might be the balance of both, which is not really a good thing. So, a lot is riding on Ahsoka Season 2, being that it's the only live-action project ready to go. And it's going to dive into a lot more of the Star Wars lore, introducing new things, and that might be problematic for a lot of people. But with that, I'm still unbelievably excited. It's got the perfect people in charge. Dave Filoni, of course, being the apprentice to George Lucas, having already established a lot of new things in Star Wars when it comes to the Force and Force Ghosts. I think we're in good hands. But tell me in the chat, on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for Ahsoka Season 2? And let me get to the super chat. Rob with a very generous $10 holla. God damn, you guys. Says, I think Ahsoka Season 2 is going to be amazing, in my opinion. Well, I like your opinion because I'm right there with you. But tell me in the chat, on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for this second season? And with that, I do have to get on out of here. We are almost coming up on 2 hours. And we're early today because I do have to get on out of here. I got some stuff going on this afternoon. But I do have a short still coming out at 5 tonight, so watch out for that. Okay. But until then, hope you have a great rest of your evening. Smash a freaking like on the stream. How many likes do we have, Chad? How many likes do we have? Am I going to be upset? Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. You know, it's all right. Oh, what the heck was that? What's going on here, Chad? Okay. You don't have to get angry like that. Jeez, that wasn't very nice. Okay, but until then, smash a freaking like on the stream, hit subscribe, all that fun stuff. And we'll keep the party going. Every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday for the rest of your lives. Go join the Discord to keep the conversation going if you want to keep it going. And may the Force be with you. Always. Oh, yeah. What a great stream. What a great show. You guys are the absolute best. This was, insane. Shout out to Jordan Rennie for the absolutely insane super chat. Biggest super chat in channel history. Probably biggest super chat ever. I appreciate that quite a bit. Also, shout outs to Ron for the very generous super chats. Darth Plagueis lives. Jedi Journeys. Appreciate that. 50 Thunderer, of course. You guys are insanely generous. I appreciate all the super chats. Memberships keep the lights on over here. And I appreciate you all so much more than you will ever know. But until next time, hope you have a great rest of your evening, great rest of your lives, and good night, everybody.